now that you've seen how important it is, what is your vision for the community page? What are the two of you working on?
Well, I think it's because it's a community, it's kind of up to the community as to what happens next. And we've been like, it's been interesting to watch it ebb and flow, and because it has its own life, it's changing, and there are waves to it. So there's been a lot of call for structure, which just in the industry in general, and I'd totally be willing to discuss working towards something more formal at some point when we're not all like adrenally fried. And
well, what's missing
from the industry?
No, from the group. What would be missing?
Oh,
like in terms of structure and all of that stuff.
Structure, I think just a little bit more. There was a lot of talk about people feeling unheard, by feeling like the industry association that so many of us aren't a part of was speaking for us and everything. And I thought it was both valuable and confusing. And so you know, a lot of people were in a similar position. So I think if we had known that this was going to happen, we would have maybe tried to structure a little bit more with them to include our stylists in their choices. But you know, how was anybody to know really that this was like a trap door?
Yeah.
So fast.
Yeah.
So and then it becomes very busy very quickly, and so it's hard to kind of like have the brain space to know what exactly to do to create structure. But it would be nice to have sort of like polls, like formal polls, like what do you want? I mean, I love it as a community. I love how it is right now. It would be neat to have sort of a coalition of sort to move forward with a little bit more army power, if that makes any sense. There's certainly potential for something.
Wait, how much you guys making per hour on this stuff? You must be making good money with this group.
Did you just say negative $50?
Yeah.
An hour?
Yeah. I mean, it has become almost a full-time job through the shutdown, moderating the page. So like that's been pretty interesting. And of course, like the PHO, the Provincial Health Office order to close has been lifted. So, you know, salons are reopening. My salon is getting ready to reopen, and I'm going back to work part-time, which is both terrifying and exciting. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like how, as like we've opened up our membership to more sort of include stylists from across the province. It used to be strictly a local page, but because Missy is so good at being resourceful and finding like actual like factual information that people can rely upon, and there's so much misinformation that's being spread around the industry, and so much, I'm sure as a member, Franco, you've seen that it's like every day there's people with posts like, I'm confused, like, is it this or that? Are we not allowed this? Or like, are we allowed to open? And so we decided to let people from across the province join. And now we're like pushing towards 3,000 members. And so it would be cool in the future, since we're a deregulated industry currently, for the powers that be to be able to use us as access to 3,000 stylists across the province for input or, you know, opinions to bounce things off of, or to like include us. Because I feel like the Vancouver Hairstylist Community page is also really about empowerment for our community and like giving free and easy access of information. And
whatever Sarah Jane is saying right now is much better than I was just saying.
If I'm making any sense at all, it's amazing. But like I would like to see in the future the hair page continue to be used as a tool for empowerment for our community, and for like hopefully politicians and policymakers to use it as an access point so that we can have some input into the things that will greatly affect our industry.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You just have to be careful because you have big hearts. It would be very easy for someone to come by and start utilizing the group the way you don't intend.
I am not nervous about our ability to do that at all.
for the last probably 14 years, we've been trying to do something together for the industry, and then that's kind of how everything evolved for the two of us.
Nice.
And that's kind of how we met, Terenzio and I. We've been trying for about 14 years. We've known each other for 14 years. We both kind of came into the industry around the same time, and we're all together now, just the industry only.
Yeah, it's nice to have like neutral, brand-free anything around hair. It feels so free.
Well,
Yeah.
Missy, you touched on it earlier when you were explaining how you started doing education based around education, not branding. And I think that's really needed in the industry because, you know, a lot of times I think a lot of hairstylists don't go to classes because it's branded and they don't want to be sold on product lines and they don't want to be sold on that product. They're like, I already sell the product. I don't need to be sold. I just want to understand, you know, new technique and new this. So you hit it like you touched my heart when you said that the no branding, the just straight real authenticity of the education side of things. It's really nice. It's refreshing.
Well, it's nice to have like-minded people like yourselves as well.
Well, and that's where the conversation has to happen, right? To show that there are more and more like-minded people in our industry, and we're all willing to have a conversation, but we just have to not be scared to start the conversation, and we got to be true to what we want and be a voice for the community. And you guys are doing a great job.
This community actually led us to a conversation with the Beauty Council, and there was a lot of questions on your forum that there was actually way more than we could handle with the amount of time that we had to speak with them, but we picked out the ones that were the most important ones. Anything you'd like to share about that interview?